Hello and welcome to Daybreak, reaching you from the nation's capital right here on Trust Television. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. Of course, I'm not alone, as always. Good morning, Stella.
Good morning, Ayuba, and a very warm welcome to the show this morning. My name is Stella Iyaji.
Yes, here on the show, we try to keep you updated, bringing you information that you need to make certain critical decisions about your country, and also bring you analysis and perspectives on national issues of concern. So as always, this morning, we'll begin with the headlines. It says that multiple flights rescheduled as students paralyze activities at Lagos Airport.
Kidnapping, Evans, co-defender bags 78 years jail term.
War on illegal drugs. NDLA busts cocaine warehouse, seizes 193 billion naira crack.
State funeral rites. Vice President Oshibajo attends Queen's burial ceremony.
Now let's take a look at the details now.
Now, Justice Oluwatoyin Taiwo, sitting at the Ikeja Special Offences Court on Monday, convicted kidnap kingpin Chukwudumeme Nwamadike, a.k.a. Evans, and his accomplice, Victor Aduba, a dismissed soldier guilty of criminal conspiracy, kidnapping, and illegal possession of firearms. In a judgment that lasted for about an hour, the court sentenced Evans to a total of 52 years, and the second defendant got 26 years jail term. The victim, Sylvanus Ahanon, was kidnapped in Lagos in June 2014 and was made to pay over $420,000 as ransom. The sentences are to run concurrently as Evans is facing 5 different kidnap charges.
All right, now several flights have been rescheduled following the ongoing protest by students at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. Students had made good their treat to shut down the airport over the prolonged strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. As early as 7 a.m., the students, who are members of the National Association of Nigerian Students, blocked the international airport, causing gridlock on both ends of the airport. The students later moved to the domestic airport, causing a standstill situation along the airport road and Mobolaji Bank Anthony Road, leading to the local airport. Both the domestic Terminal 1, also known as the General Aviation Terminal, and the Terminal 2, operated by the Bi-Kutney Aviation Service Limited of the airport, and the MMA, were shut down by the students, preventing passengers from accessing the airport.
Now, Britain bade farewell to Queen Elizabeth II on Monday at a state funeral attended by world leaders before a historic last ceremonial journey through the streets of London packed with sorrowful mourners. Huge crowds gathered in near silence to watch as the Queen's flag-draped coffin topped with the imperial state crown, her herb and scepter were carried slowly to a gun carriage from Parliament's Westminster Hall, where it was lain in state since Wednesday. Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osinbajo was one of the world leaders at the elaborate but solemn ceremony. He said the longest-serving monarch in British history was always a factor to reckon with through the major circles of world history.
And she always was able to bring, a certain degree of understanding, and just the gravity that somebody who does not hold political office but who is so well respected and so well regarded. So in so many ways, I mean, she was a factor in practically all of the various cycles that we've experienced, not just in the Commonwealth, but across in the world itself.
In the well-coordinated and intelligence-led operation that lasted 2 days across different locations in Lagos State. A statement by the Director, Media and Advocacy of the agency, Femi Babafemi, listed the kingpins of the cocaine cartel in custody to include Soji Jibril, 69, from Oyo State, Emmanuel Chukwu, 65, from Anambra State, Wasiu Akinade, 53, from Oyo State, Sunday Oguntelure, Ondo State, and Kelvin Smith, 42, a native of Kingston, Jamaica. According to Babafemi, preliminary investigation reveals that the Class A drugs were housed in the residential estate from where the cartel was trying to sell them to buyers in Europe, Asia, and other parts of the world.
All right, let's take a look at some packages. Despite the clear danger associated with smoking, quite a lot of people cutting across all ages indulge in the habit. Some smokers have been in the act for years, since they were quite young, and have a lot of years of experience feeding the habit, while others have just taken up the act, unaware of how much of an impact it will have on their lives. Jimmy Azande looks at the huge burden associated with the smoking habit. Let's take the report.
A large percentage of Benue residents still smoke. Alarmingly, many of the residents who have taken on the habit are young, and it will seem that many of them have no intention of dropping the habit.
Smoking started from inside kitchen. Our mother they smoke from inside kitchen. So meanwhile, women with outside they smoke. So smoke no be bad thing. The problem we will get for this street, we say and work no day. If work day, we dey smoke for section. Everybody they smoke. So smoke is good. And they smoke for USA, smoke for Canada, smoke for Jamaica, smoke for Anambra. Even for Benue State here, we see they smoke.
I just feel when tensed up, I take it out.
It make me like say so many times I dey think about of life, something like that. My father, my mother, so many my friends. But me, my if I dey do the thing I dey think, how they see people for life.
Ironically, many of the smokers are aware of the financial burden that comes with the habit and are even aware of the consequences or health implications. But these smokers say there is no cause to worry.
Health implication for smoke, we say, my brother, make you chop belly food before you smoke. No carry hungry, they smoke. If you carry hungry, they smoke, you go die very young. Before you smoke cigarette, make sure you don't chop akpu with or rice soup or rice and beans, you know, this kind of 700 naira plate, you know, with small chicken hand, you know, before you go smoke.
And while some smokers are already starting to experience some discomfort in their bodies, they cannot stop because they are already addicted to it.
At times I feel my liver, my lungs are too heavy. I can't move fast. So I take this soda water to calm it down.
Tunde just, good. Good.
Health experts said the consequences of smoking are grievous and addiction can be controlled to save lives.
The smoking causes a cancer of the liver, it causes a stroke, it causes diabetes, it causes damage to the body. And so it's true that when these organs are being damaged, you are liable to die young. You cannot live long. It's not good to be smoking. It's not food. You can't do without it. And those of you that have been smoking, I want to advise you to try and quit from it because it is life-threatening.
There's a template on packs of cigarettes that warns that smokers are liable to die young. But in spite of the warnings and the health implications, the number of smokers of cigarettes and other substances is alarming.
Well, quite an interesting one. The first respondent there says, smoking is an international practice.
Honestly, and he says it with a lot of pride, like it's,
Yeah, so of course it's an international practice.
Yes,
but again, we're like the report, is spotlighting.
He talks about it as if he should be hailed
the negative
smoking.
impact.
Yeah.
The negative impact on one's health. I think that's the focus of that.
Yes, and in any case, I thought that the practice was actually on the decline. I didn't know that, people were still into it that much.
Well, we've seen more inventions now. We have now shisha. That's another way,
Yeah.
which some people say, well, it's less harmful than, the smoke. But then again, scientists have their own,
Oh, yes, of course. And
studies that have revealed that it's actually as bad,
of course.
so it's not any better. But I mean, we can only caution, and we hope that people will heed to the advice. All right, now as the nation counts down to the commencement of electioneering campaign, the Kaduna State Council of Imams and Ulama says that it has no preferred candidate in the 2023 general election in the state. The council, at a press briefing in Kaduna, told journalists that they will only go for the candidate who will promote peace and progress in the state. Our correspondent, Bello Musa, has more.
The council says the briefing is to draw attention of its members on their role as heir to the teachings of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and also remain vigilant as the Kaduna state and the country is about to witness another campaign period. In view of this, the council said that it has no preferred candidate in the forthcoming election in the state.
For long, we have never had any candidate of our own choice. Ours is to allow the terrain. Then we normally sit down with the aspirants, we have discussion with them, and then whichever one that is going to bring peace and progress to Kaduna State is mostly our candidate.
It also admonished members to be wary of certain politicians who want to cause disunity among members of the council.
On this premise, the council is calling on all members to resist and desist any temptation by individual politicians or groups whose sole aim is to bring discomfort and ill feelings among members by way of disuniting and misinforming the members. Such adherents resort to getting members, resort to settling members with peanuts in order to win their sympathy, the severity of which is not of their own concern.
The Council of Imams maintains that it is already planning an agenda towards 2023 election and will soon make its position public in the state. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Thank you, Bello Musa, for that report. Now, the Islamic Development Bank, an international financial institution fostering economic development and social progress of member countries and Muslim communities, is seeking media partnership to help project the activities of the institution in Nigeria. This formed part of the deliberations during a courtesy visit to the Media Trust Group, which it has identified as reliable partner that will amplify its operations in the country. Aisha Salihu brings us the report.
Executives from the Islamic Development Bank acknowledged the institution's desire for a better media representation and collaboration, especially in Nigeria, being a member country. The financial institution says it focuses on financing humanitarian activities and special initiatives in 11 regional hubs, totaling 57 member countries across the world, with particular interest in finance, education, health services, energy, transportation, water and urban sanitation, among others.
See how we can better cooperate, how we can better work together, and have partnership, long partnership, to make sure that what is being done in the bank, whether it is in Nigeria or in other member countries, it is, projected here, and people know better what the Islamic Development Bank stands for.
We need to showcase people that we are contributor to the socio-economic status. We are trying to give them opportunity for better chance to utilize the resources.
In granting financial access to basic needs, the ISDB says Energy is one major sector it hopes to harness in rural areas.
Most of our member countries are underdeveloped, and when we talk about Nigeria, when we talk about energy, it's not just about the big energy projects. Sometimes we talk about the basic electricity for the some of the villages of the places they are out of energy.
Admitting its strong presence in the Muslim communities of the country, representatives of Media Trust Group say it's open to collaboration with the bank in order to project the ideals of the institution through a mutually beneficial partnership.
No media house that covers the north of Nigeria like us, because, and you know, northern Nigeria is the dominant part of the Muslim community of Nigeria. So which means it's an important segment of the country that should know what Islamic Development Bank is doing. We have a program which though is commercial, which we call CCC, co-created content. So it's something that yourselves and ourselves will sit down, create the content.
The ISDB, which works in accordance with the principles of Sharia, however, applies the needs assessment of member countries and non-Muslim communities to further drive its socio-economic development objectives. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
All right, thank you, Aisha, for that report. Now, federal government has been called upon to revive the railway services in Maiduguri to boost economic development and affordable means of transportation within and across the northeastern part of the country. Beatrice Kurusi reports that the railway station in Maiduguri stopped operation in 2009 due to conflict in the northeast zone. Take a look.
This looks like a ghost house. Dust, debris, and spider webs clog the interior of the abandoned train coaches. The spacious yard where people used to gather with their luggage and merchandise now turned into a farmland. The Maiduguri train station was operating in the 60s until it was abandoned in 2009, with only few staff reporting to duty daily. During its functional days, Abaganaram community was a beehive of economic activities, and it was one of the cheapest, dependable, and well-organized mode of transportation across the country. Ali Usman, recalling his youth days when he boarded the train, said insurgency was responsible for the shutdown.
I was young when I first entered a train, but I can't remember the exact year. But I traveled to Gombe State. I went to complete an agreement with a friend there, and at that time the train transport fare is affordable and you travel to anywhere. But now that it's not working, lots of people are suffering. Our plea is, if the government can fix it, we will be happy, because the shutdown affected small businesses.
What stopped it, well, is the change of government, and I cannot say why the downfall of the road. I cannot only during the wars, during Boko Haram, that this area close from here to Gombe Gabada, no train. Since they started Boko Haram, there's no road. The track is damaged. No water, don't wash all the track. There is no way for train to come in here or go out.
We expect that the federal government will revive the railway station for us, like some of the children haven't seen a train before, and it will pave way for import of goods from other states, which also make things easy for us. This can create job opportunities for youths.
The cattle market, popularly known as Kasuan Shanu, experienced huge patronage in the 90s where cattle dealers traveling by rail with huge luggage, merchandise and products without fear made the city a principal trading hub for northeastern Nigeria.
Back then, we load like 30 wagons of cattle weekly, sometimes thrice in a week. We also enjoy business those periods. And even the train workers make profit from us. Those days we export cattle to Umuahia, Port Harcourt and Enugu. We were sending to Lagos State, but later it cut off and everything too has to stop for a very long time.
The railway cuts beside Maiduguri flour mills straight through the heart of the city. And cross behind Bulunkutu area and exits at Duwari. The residents said the impact this mode of transportation had days past was huge on the economic growth of the area. They said the Duwari endpoint is inaccessible because it is believed that Boko Haram terrorists still control the territory. Although federal government had already commenced reconstruction of the railway lines, it's yet to be completed. It is believed that the work will span from Port Harcourt via Aba, Enugu, Makurdi, Plateau, Bauchi, Yobe, and down to Maiduguri. Observers said although the delay has been due to the threat of insurgency and vandalism, when completed, it will change the economic landscape of the Northeast.
Thank you, Beatrice Krutze, for that report. With that, we'll go for a short break now. When we return, we'll look at what the papers are saying today.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
But in a situation where you find that a person look at the same,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
But I have said that.
All right, welcome back. This is Daybreak, reaching you live from the nation's capital right here on Trust Television. Going to take a look at the dailies on Daybreak now, and beginning with the Daily Trust newspaper. It has the lead story on ASU strike. It says FG under pressure as students ground Lagos airport. The writer says domestic foreign airlines suffer delays. Gbajabia Mila meets Adamu, ASU leaders today. And then you also have court rules on government's suit tomorrow. You have the pictorial there showing you the students' protests yesterday in Lagos, where we understand that the road to the Lagos airport was blocked, and you could see how rowdy that place is. Now, very interesting picture there where you have 3 men on a motorbike. It looks like an exciting moment for them, you know, despite the disruption that may have caused them. You also would find other stories above the lead story. It says 2023 campaigns, Lawan, Baja, Jega, Kuka, caution against hate speech. Queen Elizabeth II's funeral testament to brotherhood among nations, says Oshibajo. Then other stories on page 4, for instance, you'd find bandits kill 4 children, abduct 16 others in fresh Niger attack. Below the pictorial, FG considers pay rise for workers over inflation. That's on page 7. Evans, co-defendant, sentenced to 21-year jail for kidnapping on page 6. NDLEA seizes 193 billion naira cocaine in Lagos, arrest 5 barons. That's on page 7. Disquiet over a selection of core investor for Nigeria Air. That's on page 19. That's that for the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
Now let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation newspaper has a lead story that, well, I think will make some Nigerians happy. Federal government plans salary raise to cushion inflation effects. Then we have another story just beneath that. PDP crisis, dismissing Wike dangerous, autumn warns. And then above that, flood, 13 states to stockpile food, evacuate residents. It has a rider that says, Kainji Shiroro Jeba dams to overflow as Cameroon opens Lado Dam. Then we also have above the masthead, Bishop Kuka, I paid 30 million ransom for my priest. We also have another story here. Evans jailed 21 years for kidnapping and collecting $420,000. Then we also have a pictorial here, and beneath that, it has a caption that says, "World leaders pay respect as Queen's remains are interred." These are the major stories on the Nation newspaper for today.
All right, so let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The lead story there says, Queen Elizabeth's funeral. World leaders over 4 billion audience bid farewell. You'd also find Truss, Boris Johnson, Blair, 4 other ex-prime ministers pay last respect. Obasanjo eulogizes late Queen, says that she carried herself with dignity. We look forward to a prosperous reign, Oshibajo tells King Charles III. And then, of course, the pictorial there showing you the moment when the Queen's coffin was taken. And then you also would have other stories above the masthead that says Nigeria's second quarter debt hits 42 trillion naira amid revenue crisis. Buhari to launch $100 billion SDG financing framework. National Assembly resumes 2023 budget. CJN confirmation top agenda. NDLEA seizes 194 billion naira cocaine in Lagos, arrest 5. And then you would have below the pictorial, corruption running Nigeria, failed subsidy, organized crime, says Obi. SANs react as Evans, ex-soldier, back 21 years. Students target Apapa port after airport road blockage. That's that for the Punch newspaper.
Over now to the Tribune newspaper. The Tribune newspaper has a lead story that says, Reps raise alarm over plot to sink Nigeria through fuel subsidy. It has the rider that says, we are subsidizing neighboring countries. Beneath that, placeholder running mate. Court strikes out PDP suit against Tinubu Obi. Also, we have anxiety as INEC unveils final list of presidential NAS candidates today. Then also we have the pictorial here showing the burial of Queen Elizabeth II. World leaders witness Queen Elizabeth's ground burial. Also, just beneath the masthead, ASU strikes, students protest ground activities at the Lagos airport. Set for showdown with police over planned shutdown of Ilorin airport. No plan to shut Abuja airport, NAN says. Disowns protests in Lagos. Reps leadership to meet federal government ASU delegation today. Right above the masthead, we have NDLEA busts cocaine warehouse, seizes 193 billion worth of drugs in Ikorodu. Evans to spend 21 years in jail for kidnapping. And also on the Tribune, we have at HID Awolowo's memorial, cleric bemoans neglect of youth's future. Those are the major stories on the Tribune.
All right. So let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper this morning. The lead story says payment of fuel subsidy is organized crime, says Obi. And then you have above the lead story how bureaucratic bottlenecks obstruct Nigeria's development by Afe Babalola. INEC false claim it failed to register 7 million voters. And then you would find relocate communities urgently over flooding. NEMA warns 13 governors. So Kapu raises alarm over southern Kaduna invasion. And then, of course, the pictorial there shows you the protests of students in Lagos and also the burial, the funeral, the state funeral of the late Queen Elizabeth II in London. And also you have Tinubu appoints Akeredolu as Southwest campaign coordinator. Tributes, tears, prayers as world beats Queen Elizabeth II goodbye. That's that for the Guardian.
Also, now let's go to the Leadership newspaper. The Leadership newspaper also has the lead stories on the burial of the Queen. Queen Elizabeth II well bids final farewell to Her Majesty. The first rider, King Charles fights back tears as Queen's coffin is lowered into royal vault. Biden, Macron, Truss lead other world leaders to the final rites. Country's solidarity, testament of brotherhood. This is coming from Oshibajo. Above that, court dismisses suit seeking to bar Tinubu Obi from presidential race. We also have, Leadership also has the story on the students' protest. Students shut down Lagos airport over ASU strike. Above the masthead, bandits abduct 60, kill 4 in Niger, Kaduna, demand 200 million naira. NDLA uncovers 193 billion cocaine at Lagos warehouse. These are the stories on the Leadership newspaper.
All right, now to get perspectives on this, we have in the studio Salmon Salami, Media Director, Justice Pen Alliance. He joins us to give us perspectives on the stories on the front pages. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Stella, because of I always say ladies first. Yeah, you have good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for being on Daybreak. Yes. Well, a lot of issues really to chew this morning. Let's begin with the Queen Elizabeth II's funeral yesterday. Quite a lot of reactions really from Africans and Nigerians also as regards the death of Queen Elizabeth II. Amidst all that has happened, initially it was about the colonial past and how a lot of people were reacting to the fact that Africans are not mourning the death of Queen Elizabeth, but we've seen a large number of African leaders at the funeral. Our own vice president said it signifies brotherhood and all that. But aside all that, what others are also bringing out on social media, if I may go that way, is the fact that some pointed at the protocol. So you have the U.S. president allowed to use his convoy to the venue, and then you have African leaders
on a bus.
On a bus, all lumped up together, and all that. So, and not just African leaders, actually, you have Asian and other European leaders as well in that same bus. So, but that's the narrative that we are hearing now. What's informing all these kind of reactions?
Well, African leaders conveyed in a bus. Are you surprised? Did you read Animal Farm? All animals are equal. Some are more equal. To me, I don't really think what should be of paramount interest to us is the mode of conveyance of leaders. Rather, it should be the lesson therein in the death, the life, death, and funeral of the London Bridge that some people said has fallen down. Let us deal with substance and not form. Rather than the way our leaders were conveyed, which to say the least is unedifying, we should rather look at the life and times of the Queen. Clearly, the Vice President captured it very well, saying that it's testament to the spirit of brotherhood. And it is. The woman carried herself very well. Minimal scandal. That should be the lesson to the world.
You know, one thing that that struck me was the fact that when people were walking past, that was before yesterday, before the burial, over the weekend, there were some persons that were on the queue for 14 hours, 13 hours, just to spend a few seconds to pay their respects to the Queen. And I was wondering, is that a scenario possible? Like, do you think that other leaders can look at that scenario and say, okay, I want people to look at me like this when I'm no more? Because it didn't look like they were forced. They were not forced. They were there voluntarily, and they were on the queue for that long.
What does that teach you? What does it convey to you? It only means that people do appreciate good leadership, responsible leadership, responsive leadership. They weren't coerced. They were even happy, waiting. It only means that we should spend time on things that will outlive life. It is not the life that matters. It is how impactful your life is. And the lesson, the takeaway is this: let us spend this life on things that will outlive life.
But to be fair to other world leaders, I mean, this is a queen who has been on the throne for 70 years. That's you know, an entire lifetime of some other persons. So isn't it, you know, expected that she would have had that kind of influence, having been on the throne for that long?
It is not guaranteed. Longevity is not a guarantee for solid, balm, and eventful funeral. It has to do with what did you pack into the life. Murtala did not live for 70 years. Up to today, we still remember Murtala Muhammad. Babawolo, yes, of course, he lived for more than 70 years. What we are saying is this: legacy.
But for Africa, is there really any legacy that we can actually say, well, this is something that, you know, is quite commendable and something not to be forgotten?
Few and far between. Very few and far between. But there are still some leaders. There are still some African leaders that, to some extent, they did live well. But the truth...
No, I'm talking about the Queen now in regards to, you know, her own legacy on the African continent.
They look at the setting. This is monarchy, right? It is monarchy, and it's still well respected, and it is still one of the enduring values of UK. Imperialism is almost gone in Africa, in which case the decision has almost overlived its usefulness. Whether that is true or not, it's left to be seen. But honestly, they still respect their tradition, and it was obvious.
All right. Well, quite a lot of events happened, actually. One of them also is the issue of the students' protest in Lagos yesterday. Travelers were stranded at some point because the road leading to the airport was blocked. You know, should it go that far? Should we go that far in terms of, you know, venting our frustration?
Good morning, students. If they are just waking up, good morning. It only shows that, unfortunately, here in Nigeria, your destiny is in your hand. It is the failure of government. Thank God, protest is legal. There is nothing illegal about protest. All I will implore them to do is that they should make sure that they conduct themselves.
What do you think informed the choice of the airport?
Well, because that is where the elite go. That is what touches them. Do you expect them to go to Jabi Park and protest? It's like the government is disconnected. There's a disconnect between the government and the people. For Christ's sake, how will you live, how will you shut the universities for almost 8 months and you still feel it is right? With due respect to Mr. President, Mr. President met with the pro-chancellors. And when it was time for Mr. President to respond, I have listened to you. I will make more consultation. That is all you can hear from me now. Which other consultation?
I mean, with his lieutenants, you need to consult, isn't it?
For God's sake, there must be an end to consultation. Let us reopen the universities.
Well, you know, about last week, maybe a couple of, say, almost 2 weeks now, after a meeting, another committee was set up, which included the Minister of Education, it included some vice chancellors and some pro-chancellors, and even Nimi Briggs was part of that committee.
Exactly.
And I remember asking a question then that this committee does not have a timeline to which it's supposed to complete its work. Because ordinarily, a lot of people that would have expected the students to wait for the outcome of that committee before embarking on this protest.
The committee was given 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 2 clear weeks. You see, the truth is this. Honestly, there is no way we can justify the closure of university for 7 months and we are still counting. It is insensitive. No other, look, let's come clean. I am very, those who know me very well know that I campaign for Baba. I respect him. I still respect him. But honestly, there are quite some things that up to now do not add up. This is one of such things. There is no explanation, that is no justifiable explanation for the closure of universities up till today. What is more annoying? You see ministers showing all the photographs of their students or children who graduated abroad. Meaning what? To hell with you people, we care less. Insensitivity. And the students have shown them that, look, enough is enough. But a caveat, they should ensure that it is orderly. They should eschew violence. Thank God, protest is in order.
Mm. Well, the students we are also understanding that their next point of call will be their papa ports and all that. So definitely that will have an implication on the economy if they go that way, isn't it?
My dear, you see, you don't seem to understand or to appreciate the how do I put it? These our children, they are frustrated. Their level of frustration. Quite many of them have taken to crime. Quite many of the students are in the cell now. Why? You know that any empty hand, devil will find a way of giving that empty hand or idle hand a job. And it is unfortunate that this stage, this phase of their life is such a phase that they are ready to experiment with anything. So idealistic. I am not justifying crime. Never. I will not. But what I am saying is this. We should appreciate that knowledge is power. And the future of this country is in these youths. If we feel that the future belongs to them, as we normally say, that which I see as a cliche anyway, The future belongs to them. When is the future? When will the future start? Future starts when?
Okay. All right. There's also this story on the Daily Trust newspaper just beneath here. Disquiet over selection of core investor for Nigeria Air. Nigeria Air is supposed to be launched next month. That's after a lot of postponement and all of that. Should this be happening at this point?
Disquiet over core investors. Captain Adi Sirika, Senator Adi Sirika, so to speak, I'm sorry. Senator Adi Sirika is somebody I have tremendous respect for. Not necessarily because he's the Minister for Aviation, but because of what he has been able to do in the aviation industry. Together with Captain Musa Nuhu, the DG of NCA, Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, they have really projected this country well. Do you know that in the last 1 year or so, in the last 3 years or more, there's no serious air mishap.
All right, but on the
Air Nigeria thing, they are taking their time. This is a route well beaten.
This is before President Muhammadu Buhari got elected in 2015. He had made a promise to ensure that we have Nigeria an airline, a national carrier. That was before he got elected in 2015. This is 7 years down the line, and we're still hearing this. This is after several postponements.
Well, maybe they want to get it right.
Some persons may think that 7 years is a long time to get it right.
No doubt about that. 7 years is a long time. A very long time. Don't let me justify failure. There is need for them to do something about this. And it's the shame of the nation that we do not have a national carrier.
All right, now let's take a look at another story. This time around, the NDLEA have made, I would say, they call it the biggest, busts in its history, in its entire history, intercepting cocaine of about worth about 193 billion naira. What does that say about the drug trafficking business in Nigeria?
It's a thriving business, but I want us to look at not what they are doing now, but the leadership of NDLEA. You see, I've always said it that there are people in Nigeria who can make a change. Buba Marwa is one of such people. It is the leadership. Since Buba Marwa took over the affairs of NDLEA, you could see what has been happening there. In actual fact, he has smoked out almost all the barons. This is the power of leadership. If we are able to get it right, Nigeria can still rise again.
But NDLEA keeps seizing these items, these drugs, and we keep hearing of more seizures and more seizures. Why does Nigeria appear like a veritable, where the country where these drugs keep coming in, very fertile ground for these drugs?
I do not really know why, but I want to believe that, Nigerians and the society generally, any society that worships money, any society that reward immorality, where value means nothing, where what counts is money, and does not really matter how you come about the money. This is what you see. It's unfortunate that we have gotten to this level where everything boils down to money, and it does not matter what you are doing to get the money, the source of the money. Nobody cares. You don't hammer.
Do you think that there's been an increase in the inflow or in the trafficking of drugs within the Nigerian space, or is it the level of arrest, or the operations that have changed?
Both. It is a thriving business. It has always been. It is just that at the ends of affairs now, you have somebody who is there to do the job.
Does it also mean that more Nigerians are taking to the drugs?
I don't know whether more Nigerians are taking to drugs. It is not for local consumption. It is exported. It is just a transit. Nigeria is like a transit camp, kind of, because of the lapses. Because it is easier for them to traffic in it from here.
Now, it's one thing for the NDLEA to be doing its part, it's another for other agencies as well to cooperate and to collaborate with the NDLEA, because perhaps some of these drug dealers feel that it's easy to penetrate into Nigeria, maybe through the borders and the rest of them, right? So what kind of collaboration do we need to see to be able to cut down on the rate at which we are seeing these drugs trafficked?
You are right. Before NDLA busted the organized crime, how did he get into Nigeria? Do I need to tell you that we have our borders are porous? I don't need to tell you that. You know that. Do I need to tell you that some of the officials compromised? You are forgetting the case of RKI. The truth is this. If we want this country to work and to work well, all hands need to be on deck. And we must be patriotic.
Okay. All right. Pick it on another story, the Evans story. Finally, we have seen that he has been sentenced. So the question is, has justice been served? Looking at his sentence now, 21-year jail term.
You see, Evans' story is a very sad story about the most celebrated case of kidnapping because of the huge amount of money involved. Has justice been done? What is justice after all? Justice is not only to the nation, but to Evans himself. Because if Evans is entitled to 8 years and you give Evans 21 years, is it justice? But I must commend the judiciary.
Well, before you commend the judiciary, should the trial have taken this long? Evans was arrested in 2017. Do you think the trial should have taken this long?
The wheel of justice grinds slowly. It's unfortunate. It could be faster, but all is well that ends well.
All right, then.
Some persons say that if crimes are dispensed with as quickly as possible, cases are dispensed with as quickly as possible, that it will serve as a deterrent, that will even serve more of a deterrent than the number of years you give to the convicts. Because if people see that, oh, if I do this, I get convicted, then you actually hear about them. You know, some persons actually forgot about Evans until this judgment came because of the number of years.
The very nature of justice is such that it must be thorough. Yes, justice delayed is justice denied. Even justice rushed, it's no justice. There is need for thorough investigation, and this takes time in this crime. And if they don't do thorough investigation, you discover that it is a criminal offense in such a manner that it must be proved beyond reasonable doubt, and they must not leave any room. If they do, chances are that the criminal will go scot-free. That is not to say that that all is well with the judiciary. It is not well. There is need for the judiciary to up its game.
All right, thank you so much. I think it's a good place for us to end the newspaper review for this morning. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak.
It's a delight being here with you people.
Yes. All right, our guest reviewer is Salmon Salami, Media Director, Justice Pen Alliance. He joins us to give perspectives to some of the are stories on the front pages of our newspapers. We'll take a short breather, and then when we return, Daybreak continues. Please stay.
Welcome back. It's top of the hour, and we'll take the headlines again. Multiple flights rescheduled as students paralyze activities at Lagos Airport.
Kidnapping. Evans, co-confidant, backs 78 years jail term.
War on illegal drugs. NDLEA busts cocaine warehouse, seizes 193 billion crack.
State funeral rites. Vice President Oshibajo attends Queen's burial ceremony.
Now let's take the details. Justice Oluwatoyin Taiwo, sitting at the Ikeja Special Offences Court on Monday, convicted kidnap kingpin Chukwudumeme Nwamadike, a.k.a. Evans, and his accomplice Victor Aduba, a dismissed soldier guilty of criminal conspiracy, kidnapping, and illegal possession of firearms. In a judgment that lasted for about an hour, the court sentenced Evans to a total of 52 years, and the second defendant got 26-year jail term. The victim, Silvanus Ahanon, was kidnapped in Lagos in June 2014 and was made to pay over $420,000 as ransom. The sentences are to run concurrently as Evans is facing 5 different kidnap charges.
The beauty of our criminal jurisprudence is that you have 2 other courts ahead of this one, the Appeal Court and the Supreme Court. We are going to try the legal propriety otherwise of the judgment of today. To me, I think Appeal Court may have a different view on the judgment.
Okay, so you are not actually satisfied with this final judgment?
Until I get to Supreme Court, I will not be satisfied. These are incidents that took place in 2014.
Yes, sir.
Right now, several flights have been rescheduled following the ongoing protest by students at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. Students had made good their threat to shut down the airport over the prolonged strike by Academic Staff Union of Universities. As early as 7 a.m., the students, who are members of the National Association of Nigerian Students, blocked the international airport, causing gridlock on both ends of the airport. The students later moved to the domestic airport, causing a standstill situation along the airport road and Mobolaji Bank Anthony Road, leading to the local airport. Both the domestic Terminal 1, also known as the General Aviation Terminal, and the Terminal 2, operated by Kutney Aviation Service Limited of the airport, and the MMA were shut down by the students, preventing passengers from accessing the airport.
Now, in what appears to be the biggest singular cocaine seizure in the history of Nigeria's premier anti-narcotic agency, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have busted a major warehouse in a secluded estate in Ikorodu area of Lagos, where 1.8 tons, an equivalent of 1,855 kilograms of the illicit drug worth nearly $3 million were seized. At least 4 drug barons, including a Jamaican, and the warehouse manager have been arrested in the well-coordinated and intelligence-led operation that lasted 2 days across different locations in Lagos State. A statement by the Director, Media and Advocacy of the agency, Femi Babafemi, listed the kingpins of the cocaine cartel in custody to include Soji Jibril, 69 from Oyo State, Emmanuel Chuko, 65 from Anambra State, Wasiu Akinyade, 53, Oyo State, Sunday Ogunteluri from Ondo State, and Calvin Smith, 42, a native of Kingston, Jamaica. According to Babafemi, preliminary investigation reveals the Class A drugs were warehoused in the residential estate from where the cartel was trying to sell them to buyers in Europe, Asia, and other parts of the world.
Britain bid farewell to Queen Elizabeth II on Monday at a state funeral attended by world leaders before a historic last ceremonial journey through the streets of London packed with sorrowful mourners. Huge crowds gathered in near silence to watch as the Queen's flag-draped coffin, topped with the imperial state crown, her herb and scepter, was carried slowly to a gun carriage from Parliament's Westminster Hall, where it had lain in state since Wednesday. Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osinbajo was one of the world's leaders at the elaborate but solemn ceremony. He said that the longest-serving monarch in British history was always a factor to reckon with through the major circles of world history.
Now, over now to some more packages. The Islamic Development Bank, an international financial institution fostering economic development and social progress of member countries and Muslim communities, is seeking partnership to help project the activities of the institution in Nigeria. This formed part of the deliberations during a courtesy visit to the Media Trust Group, which it has identified as a reliable partner that will amplify its operations in the country. Aisha Salihu brings us the report.
Executives from the Islamic Development Bank acknowledged the institution's desire for a better media representation and collaboration, especially in Nigeria, being a member country. The financial institution says it focuses on financing humanitarian activities and special initiatives in 11 regional hubs, totaling 57 member countries across the world with particular interest in finance, education, health services, energy, transportation, water and urban sanitation, among others.
See how we can better cooperate, how we can better work together and have partnership, long partnership, to make sure that what is being done in the bank, whether it is in Nigeria or in other member countries, it is, what you call it, projected here, and people know better what the Islamic Development Bank stands for.
We need to showcase people that we are contributor to the socio-economic status. We are trying to give them opportunity for a better chance to utilize the resources.
In granting financial access to basic needs, the ISDB says energy is one major sector it hopes to harness in rural areas.
Most of our member countries are underdeveloped, and when we talk about Nigeria, when we talk about energy, it's not just about the big energy projects. Sometimes we talk about the basic electricity for the some of the villages of the places they are out of energy.
Admitting its strong presence in the Muslim communities of the country, representatives of Media Trust Group say it's open to collaboration with the bank in order to project the ideals of the institution through a mutually beneficial partnership.
No media house that covers the north of Nigeria like us, because, and northern Nigeria is the dominant part of the Muslim community of Nigeria, so which means it's an important segment of the country that should know what Islamic Development Bank is doing. We have a program which, though is commercial, which we call CCC, co-created content. So it's something that yourselves and ourselves will sit down, create the content.
The ISDB, which works in accordance with the principles of Sharia, however, applies the needs assessment of member countries and non-Muslim communities to further drive its socio-economic development objectives. Aisha Salihu, Trust TV News, Abuja.
All right, thank you, Aisha Salihu. Now we'll take a short breather, and then when we return, we'll start with our conversation of the day. Please stay.
Documenting the Nigerian story.
All right, thank you for staying. This is Daybreak on Trust Television. Now, Nigeria's inflation rate surged to 20.52% in August, the highest since September 2005. According to details of the inflation figures published by the National Bureau of Statistics, the inflation figure rose from 19.64% recorded in July. What's the implication of the continuous rise in the consumer price index? We have a guest joining us via Skype from Lagos, where he'll be talking to us about this. He is Vincent Ochoma, head of Capital Market Interstate Securities. Hello, Vincent. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on Daybreak.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's begin with your take on the current inflation figure that we are dealing with right now. Were you expecting this?
It's expected, because if you look at what is happening both in the country and globally, the figures are not surprising, because we all go to the market and we have noticed the increase in prices of commodities, price of foodstuff, price of most items that we purchase in the market. So the figures is not surprising, because we're already in it, because these figures are reporting what is already in the system.
I mean, but we have central bank making policies, taking decisions to ensure that we don't get to where we are. So how come with all of that, with all the interventions and all, we are still not able to at least bring it to a minimum.
Yeah, you know, the inflation figures just shows you the average, the aggregate figures from various sectors. And when you look at the current situation in the world, there's an issue, there's a inflation problem in the world. And when you go then bring it back to Nigeria, the factors that have caused this inflation, they are both imported and they are local. Because if you look at the figure, the major push for the current inflation figure is the inflation, which is currently at food inflation is currently 23.12%, and this is coming from 17%, around 70% in January 2022. And you remember in February, the war in Ukraine, you know, is a breach, is a major food belt for the world because of the supply of the wheat that is consumed globally.
Mr. Ochoma.
And Nigeria is a major importer of. So if you look at these factors and also look at what is happening and being an import-dependent country, we are definitely going to import this inflation, global inflation, into the country.
Mr.
Coupled that, we are also facing our own problems locally, the insecurity in the country, and also the logistic challenges as production in the country. So how we arrived at where we are.
Mr. Ochoma. Mr. Ochoma.
Yes, I can hear you.
If you can hear me, I would like to be very specific. The CBN, in reaction to the inflation, increased interest rate from 11.5% to 13%. And then later, it came back and increased it to 14%. Has that had any impact whatsoever? Because instead of seeing a downturn, what we're seeing is an increase in the inflation rate.
Yeah, the impact, we have not really seen impact from the increase in rates, because when you look at the factors that are causing this inflation, they are not, they don't respond to rate increase that much. Because when you look at the issue of production, we are facing insecurity challenges in the country, so which has affected production. Also, add that to the fact that a price of energy, you know, the cost of diesel now is at an all-time high. Looking at where we are coming from, currently around between 700 and 800 naira per liter. You are talking of coming from between 200 and 300 per liter. So that tells you the impact it have in production and the cost of movement of transportation costs, which is a major. Also, with respect to the, if you notice something in terms with respect to the food inflation, there was a reduction in terms of a month-by-month increase, because last month it grew. The increase rate of growth last month was 2.04, but we have about 1.98 for the month of August. So that shows you a reduction. This is attributed to, that can be attributed to the harvest season, as people are harvesting crops. So it will lead to a little reduction. But you know that Nigerian, we are not food sufficient. We import a lot of the food that we consume in this country. And currently, food prices are increasing. So that's why we are not really seeing impact. And you know that the price of the dollar is also increasing. That is definitely going to affect the importation cost, and this will drive up prices.
All right. What are the options left to low-income earners looking at the high food inflation rate?
The options are quite limited. I think that's why the CBN tries to do what it can within its ability to curb this surge. But I think a lot of responsibility will lie with the fiscal policy managers, because, like I mentioned, logistic challenges and also production issues. These are some of the things that can be taken care of by and I've done some things in terms of trying to do the Anchor Borrowers program and also some other intervention program. But I think more needs to come from the other policy managers for us to see a fight in terms of inflation. And also the Forex issue, which has been a dragging issue for a long time. So that's another major issue because as long as we remain an import-dependent country, forest challenges will definitely have an impact on our economy. These are some of the things. The CBN is trying to reduce the import bill with the Anchor Barrels program. I think some of the measures that have been taken, the intervention steps by the CBN, if those measures were not taken, I think we would have been worse off now. I will give you an example. Nigerians' importation bill in terms of rice consumption has reduced. As a result, more Nigerians are eating local rice. Just imagine if some years ago, very much dependent on foreign rice. I think it would have been worse by now.
So how would you compare the way that Nigeria is managing this inflation rate with other, African countries in terms of, how we are doing managing?
Yeah, the inflation, a lot of African, there's not much. The situation is quite bad because when you look at a country like Ghana, we are talking about 20.52 in Nigeria. Ghana is over 30%, their inflation figure. Also looking at a country like Angola, their inflation figure is also surging. But when you look at the global management in some of the developed countries, we have seen a little respite, especially after the deal to export wheat, because before that deal, once the war broke out, the invasion of Ukraine, we saw energy prices surging and also food prices going above the roof. It was broke out by the United Nations and Turkey that allowed export of wheat from Ukraine after it was stopped. So that kind of affect in some developed countries, but I think it has not really affected the developing country because a little of that export is coming to Nigeria. The main thing is that unlike when you are using monetary policy to prevent inflation, there will be a little impact in terms of if we don't correct the logistic bottleneck and also the production issue, as well as the forex challenges. I think there will be little from the management, except we are looking through the harvest season. Maybe we can see some reduction in food because the major part of this inflation is the food inflation.
All right, Mr. Ochoma. Experts will say that the inflation figuratively chews at the money even while it's still in your pocket. So in your view, how would people who want to save money, what would they do in this kind of situation?
Yeah, that's part of the measures the CBN is taking. If you look at it, the CBN, with the increase in rates, they are trying to increase capital formation so that more people can save. Savings rate has increased where it used to be. And also, if you look at the investment, investment rates, you can see that there's an increase in rate, whether for treasury bills or for bonds. This is trying to reduce, encourage people to save, encourage people to invest, and to see if this can reduce the push for consumption push, and that can reduce the inflation figure. So in terms of savings, it will encourage people to save, but it will also affect the money available because their disposable income, their consumption, the cost of consumption will also increase. So their disposable income will reduce. It's not a good one because when you look at what 100 naira can buy in January, but when you look at the current rate, it's difficult for you to purchase that thing that you can purchase even with 200 naira. So it's quite a challenging time for the country. It's a global phenomenon, but it's worse for Nigeria because when you look at the impact, a lot of this is self-inflicted because it is imported. If we have done some of the things that we ought to have done in terms of improving our production capacity, I don't think it would have been this bad for Nigeria. Because in the global, we're talking about less than 10% in developed countries, but we're talking about over 20% in Nigeria.
All right, thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak. Vincent Ochoma, Head of Capital Market in Interstate Securities. We appreciate you joining.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, we'll take a short breather now, and then when we return, we'll take a look at other issues on Daybreak. Join. All right, thank you for staying. This is Daybreak on Trust Television. Now, the next discussion, the peace talks between the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Haji Atiku Abubakar and the River State Governor Nyesom Wike have finally broken down. The collapse of the reconciliation moves was sealed with the appointment of Governor Aminu Waziri Tambuwal as the Director General of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, and the vote of confidence passed on the National Chairman, Iyorchia Ayu. Now, is the main opposition party at war against itself? That's what we are going to be looking at this morning, and we have in the studio Dr. Olajide Adeniji. He is the chieftain of the party and also former chairman of FEMA. Thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank
you, my sister.
Thank you for coming, sir.
Yes.
You know, for the PDP, just when one thinks that, oh, okay, there's now, the issue is now sorted, you now see another angle or another dimension to the crisis again. So with these reactions trailing the list of members and also officials of the campaign presidential council, where is the PDP heading now?
Well, PDP, I always say, is an organized party. There is no party, there is no family that there can be rifts. The ways and manner we manage rifts is what matters. PDP have a system, and every process is always organized. Our presidential campaign council, which is over 300 people, is just to embrace every aspect of every segment of the PDP. so that no one will say he's left behind.
Is that also why you have a presidential campaign organization and also presidential campaign council?
We have presidential campaign council. Later, the party will also announce presidential campaign management committee. The campaign council is just ceremonial. They will not meet more than 3 times before the election. It's to tell us what we are to do in some states, what we are to do, what is the media. It's not the field. They are not the field officers.
Which one is which one is made up of the field officers?
It's the presidential campaign committee.
Committee.
Yes.
That's the one headed by the governor of Sokoto State.
Yes, that's the one headed by governor of Sokoto State, Director General.
Okay, but with the appointment of the governor of Sokoto State heading this organization or committee, as you have said, it appears it has deepened the crisis in the party.
In what sense? He's qualified. Anybody could be. I could be. And there must be reasons why we chose Governor Tambua. I mean, he's capable, a lawyer, former speaker.
Yeah,
he's experienced.
Yes, he's experienced.
Yes.
But again, a lot of issues. I mean, one of the major reasons for this crisis is the issue of balancing, you know, the leadership structure of your party.
Yes.
Now you have a presidential candidate from the north.
Yes.
You have a chairman from the north.
Yes.
You have a presidential campaign DG from the north.
Yes.
Doesn't that bother you?
Well, it does not bother me because there's a precedence. We have a presidential candidate from the north and the chairman from the north. During Goodluck Jonathan is from South. He's a sitting president. Ogboluafo is from the southeast. He was a substantive chairman. And when we remove Ogboluafo, Nwodo took over. Heaven did not fall. Is it now that the thing fell into the side of the north that people are making noise?
Dr. Adeniji, maybe at that time, people were comfortable with it. But at this point, where some members of your party have expressed concern over it, shouldn't that bother the party?
No, the party is balanced. The Presidential Campaign Council, which is the highest organ of the campaign, is headed by Governor Udom Emmanuel. And that is superior to the Director General. So there is a balance.
But you just mentioned also that that's the real people, the ones going to work, are those in the committee.
Well, they are just laborers. The main people are the Presidential Campaign Council. They are the field officers. It's just like somebody like Chief of Army Staff, you say that he's subordinate to people that are in the field. They are working for him. The Presidential Campaign Management Committee is subordinate to the Presidential Campaign Council, which is headed by Sadana.
All right, we know that Governor Wike's name is on the list. Has he accepted to work in that committee?
He's a fantastic party member.
Has he accepted?
He has no choice than to accept.
No, but has he conveyed his acceptance?
I am a member of the Presidential Campaign Committee. I have not written any letter that I have accepted. But it's as good as accepted. We don't need to write any letter. He's there.
No, but that's presumptuous. I mean, this is the same assumptions that we have had in the past.
Let me tell
next thing he comes on the media, he comes on the national TV and says certain things.
A lot of us don't understand party management. Party can be without governors. Governors cannot be without parties. I think you are getting me. The governor is just a member of the party who has the privilege to serve as a governor. Our party is People's Democratic Party, and not Governor's Democratic Party.
And the governor can defect. I mean, we have seen governors defect and leave the party.
It is because the legal system is faulty. You defect, you lose your seat. Because it's not you they vote for, they voted for the party.
But that didn't happen. I mean, we've seen that in Zamfara State, where in fact the governor became governor because
there is a ruling now that when you defect, you lose your post. But everything goes under this dispensation.
But, Doctor, when you speak like this, you make it sound like the governors can be forced to do whatever the party says. But that's not what we see in the country.
The party is superior to the governor.
But that's not what we see in the country, though.
It is because there is breakdown of law and order. So governors are subordinate to the party. So now there is party supremacy.
Doctor, now that we have agreed that there's breakdown of law and order, and which therefore means that governors can decide not to do what the party has said. And with this composition,
yes,
don't you think that efforts to reconcile Governor Wike and the people and his allies?
Who told you we have not reconciled with Governor Wike? Governor Wike is a fantastic party man. He's expressing his mind. He's expressing his fundamental human rights.
When did this reconciliation take place?
I mean, it's ongoing.
Okay, that means there is no. That means you have not reconciled with Governor.
No, we have. When I say it's ongoing, reconciliation is not something that you just say, oh, it ends today. No. If there are some other green areas that we need to sort out,
but if you say something is what you said is ongoing, which means it is a process. It is
part of the reconciliation. Part of the reconciliation is for him to be a member of the Presidential Campaign Council.
Yeah, exactly. That was why I asked if he accepted, because that would mean that there's a step towards reconciliation.
He's a party man. He has no choice than to accept. He's a party man.
He has always been a party man, and he has made the statements that he has made.
Anybody can be aggrieved at any point in time. The ways and manner you manage the crisis is what matters. And I think we are managing it well.
Governor Wike is not alone in this. Governor Seyi Makinde has also, shared his own, support for the stand of Wike. Bode George, who is also a member and a very top member for that matter.
You say you are going to my own region or something.
He has also said that, look, IU must go. So is it not something that your party is considering for peace to reign?
With all due respect, Uncle Bode George is my big uncle, and I respect him so much. But in this matter, there is divergence. We differ a lot. When you ask IU to step down, there will be ripple effect. There will be terrible crisis in the party. By the constitution of the PDP, if IU steps down today, the deputy national chairman knot takes over. That's Damagun. You are still in the same knot. I think you are getting me. And if you force that one to step down, the deputy national chairman of the South takes over. And if the deputy national chairman takes over as the acting national chairman, then the approval officer and the accounting officer will come from the same sub-region, which means the national chairman will come from the South, the national secretary will come from the South, which is not normal. You understand? So there will be ripple effects.
There are those who have suggested that why don't PDP just dissolve the committee?
Why can we dissolve the committee because of some few people?
For peace to reign,
Which peace?
Some people have even suggested that you suspend your constitution for now.
We cannot suspend our constitution without the National Convention. We want to go and campaign to win election. How can we be putting ourselves into crisis of suspending a constitution? So no, you cannot suspend the constitution unless by the highest ruling body of the party, which is the National Convention. Do we have time for that?
Doctor, you said that you want to win an election.
We are winning. Not that we want to win, we are winning.
Yes, you said that you want to win.
We are winning election, not we want to.
Okay. But isn't that putting the cart before the horse? Because if the party is not together, how do you win?
We are together. Forget about what you are reading. I mean, if we have 1 million people in a particular party, and 3 people are just
this appears more than 3 people.
You said
no. I'm just giving you an example. I'm not saying only 3 people are not at peace with us.
I mean, these are not ordinary 3 people. We have governors. We are talking about governors. We are talking about governor of Benue State. We are talking about Governor Seyi Makinde.
Benue State. Makinde is the vice chairman of the
These are all members who have voiced, who have taken the same position.
I saw a story by Autumn today saying
that
that PDP ignore Wike's concern at your own peril. Autumn said so.
No, that's when did he become the PRO for Wike?
He's a member of the party.
Okay.
And he belongs to the same camp.
A governor is a governor of his own state. You are not subordinate to another governor. I have never seen in the history of Nigeria where a governor become PRO to another governor. In the First Republic, Awolowo stood on his own, Sadana stood on his own, Zig stood on his own.
That's not the point.
You can never.
That's not the point.
It is ridiculous.
The point is that they belong. The point is that they belong to another governor. The point is that they belong to the same camp. And
yes.
Governor Autumn has always re-echoed the position of
Governor
Wike. So they belong to the same camp.
I know
it's not a matter of being a spokesman.
Autumn is not doing any anti-party. He's a PDP core. He has election to run. He himself will not want to lose his senatorial ambition. Wike does not have any election to run. Anybody that has election to run and is following him is on his own. Governor Makinde has election to run. He's going to run for a second term. He should concentrate on how he will win his election, not to be diverted by all these crises here and there. Crises that are man-made? No.
But doctor, instead of saying this person is on his own, the other person is on his own, isn't it better for the PDP to come together and bring all the persons
PDP is
together?
doing that. We don't need to tell you what we are doing. They are doing it on the ground.
But we haven't seen it because what we see is different.
You will soon see it. The problem will soon be over. Let me tell you, Wike is a party man.
Doctor, you're on this
show. He loves the party so much.
Doctor,
he cannot live to destroy the party.
Doctor, you're on this show about 3 months ago. And at that time, I remember you saying the crisis will soon be over. This is 3 months down and a few days to the commencement of the campaigns. And this crisis is
when I tell you it will soon be over, I mean it will soon be over. You will see it yourself. We will laugh and embrace ourselves and not artificial laughing.
Well, we've had that several times before. And just like I started earlier on saying, that it's, you know, just as when we think that it's all over, the storm is over for the PDP, it looks like they're still in the milky waters. There's no way out. Because
that is what you think.
After the London meetings that were, you know, that we saw,
I wasn't part of the London meeting. I didn't even have the details of
that
the
was
London
when
meeting.
we now saw the governor of Rivers State, you know, on national TV saying all kinds of things against.
He has his own opinion,
your chairman,
and I cannot think for him. I think you are getting me. Wike has his own opinion. He's an independent person, and he might have seen what I could not see. So I don't challenge people on what they express.
Okay,
but what I want to tell you is that PDP is on top.
All these statements and actions by governors who are not comfortable with this situation, don't you think it will impact the chances of the PDP going into this election?
That is the problem that people have. I think you are getting me. PDP is a party. It's People's Democratic Party, not Governor's Democratic Party. PDP belongs to the people. It does not belong to the governor. And the reason why somebody like me is totally supporting Ayu is that he has reorganized the party to a level that we are independent and the party is superior to anybody now. Before now, we could not pay any kobo to our accounts. Our accounts were garnished. But today, we are free from that. Whatever you want to contribute, you pay to the account of the party. I think you are getting me. All the money we hold, we are paid.
You talk about...
And the party members all over the country are contributing. We don't need to depend on any governor to survive.
You talk about party supremacy, but...
The party is superior to anybody.
And I hear you, but... I mean, there are a lot of people who...
The party is even superior to the chairman.
There are a lot of people who have watched political parties in Nigeria very closely. And it is obvious. And it's a fact that party survives because of governors. Governors in states are considered party leaders, right? Who most times fund the activities of political parties, giving them the kind of influence that they have. And a lot of people also have said that Governor Wike is doing what he's doing now because he feels that he deserves better than the kind of treatment that he's getting, given that he has made several sacrifices for the party, even when the chips are down. For the PDP, he was there, funding the party and all of that. And now you talk about party
supremacy. I'm not aware of funding the party. But what I know is that Wike is a core party man. He has contributed his own quota to the development of the party. But that does not mean the party should be enslaved by anybody. The party is the party.
Can your party do without Wike?
Without?
Yes.
Party can do without anybody.
But yes.
So you are willing to move on to the 2023 election with or without Wike?
No, I'm not saying that. We need Wike. But if the chiefs are done, I said the party can do without anybody.
You keep saying that the party is the people.
I am not saying party can do without Wike. But if Wike decides today that I don't have anything to do with the party, will you force him? And that does not mean the party will not win.
You keep saying the party. The party is a party because of the people in that party.
That is why it's People's Democratic Party. The party belongs to all of us. It doesn't belong to the National Working Committee. It doesn't belong to the National Executive Committee. It doesn't belong to they are just organs. It doesn't belong to the governors. Governors are just our representative standing in for us. The governors cannot win any election on their own. If Wike goes to Accord Party today and contests for governor of Rivers State, he may not win. He will not even win. The party is the main thing.
Okay, we don't know that for a fact, but seeing that we're about to go, the campaigns are about to start.
Yes.
What efforts are on at this moment? Maybe last minute reconciliation
I'm
efforts.
telling you, the party is on top of the
PDP
situation that is that we are in. We are there. We don't need to tell you the secret of what we are doing. But you will see the end results at the end of it all. You will see it. We're on top. And this election is for winning.
You've always said you're on top, yet we see all that we see.
We are not under. We're on top.
Okay, so I'd like you to talk to us about Adolphus Wabara as now the new BOT chair.
No, fantastic man. Adolphus Wabara was a former Senate President, a complete gentleman, a Nigerian personified. In fact, his first language is Yoruba, then followed by Igbo. He's a man that is cut across the... He's a man that is an embodiment of respect. When Adolphus Wabara talks, you know that somebody is talking. He's a man that he will lead us well as the conscience of the party. So it was a good decision. Good decision.
All right. Now, you know, one thing you kept saying is the fact that your party is on top of the situation.
We're on top.
And so the last effort by your party to bring about reconciliation or balance, you know, it's the resignation of your former BOT chair,
yes,
Wale Jibrin. And that failed to appease to, you know, the man at the center of it all, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State.
Yeah.
So does that suggest in any way that progress is that they are making any progress?
That is exactly what I was trying to tell you. The major organs of the party today, the party chairman, the party's candidate, the presidential council chairman, the head of the campaign management committee, the BOT, all of them were shared within the 6 geopolitical zone. You can never see one that is repeated twice. The national chairman is from the North Central. Our candidate is from the Northeast. The campaign council chairman is from the South-South. The BOT chairman is from the Southeast. The Director General of the campaign, who is the head of the campaign management committee, is from the Northwest.
Do you think that the PDP can actually survive without an Obi and a Wike at the same time?
PDP can survive without Obi and a...
yes, especially in the Southeast and the
You yourself, you have been saying what is happening in Nigeria. Obi cannot deflect us. Obi is popular in the East. In the West today, a lot of people scratch their head before they know who is Obi. Well, if you go to the far north, some people don't even know him.
Well, ordinarily, the Southeast used to be for the PDP, but we don't think that is what is going to happen in 2023 because
there is no part of the Southeast that PDP will not get at least 40%. That I assure you.
So you don't think that there's a problem?
It will not happen.
You seem to be downplaying the impact.
I am not downplaying anything.
Come,
Obi is a personal friend. He's a fantastic man. He's an achiever. But he does not go down with the electorate like that. Forget about social media. Social media, East and West, yes. In the North, is radio. So
are you saying now that as the PDP foreclosed the issue on Ayush removal, and even this committee that you set up and the campaign council, would there be further adjustments?
What is the basis of removing Ayu?
Because some
people said Ayu promised that when a candidate emerges, he will resign, he will do this one. He never says that. They never say so.
Why did they say he said so?
No, because they don't listen to nitty-gritty of whatever interview they are listening to. Ayu said that, come, if a candidate emerges and the party asks me to resign, I will resign. And the National Executive Council of the party, they passed vote of confidence in him, meaning that don't resign. And he will not resign. He did not say that if governor say I will resign, I will resign. He didn't say so. He said the party says, and the party has passed vote of confidence in him, and that's all. So are we now going to be dancing to the tune of governors or to the tune of the party? The National Executive Council of the party is the second highest organ of the party, apart from the National Convention. And they have passed vote of confidence in him.
Listening to you critically sounds like calling the bluff of Governor Wike.
We can never call the bluff of Governor Wike. Governor Wike is part and parcel of us.
Seems to suggest that, look, regardless of whatever you say, we have taken a decision. It's either you buy into it or not. That's what you're saying.
No. Governor Wike is very important to PDP. But that does not mean he can tell us to dance without music and we'll be dancing without music.
And Doctor, when you said Governor Wike, it therefore means that we're also adding Governor Makinde, Governor Oton, because these are people that are with him.
Well, I don't know the people that are with him. You are the one telling me now. All I know.
And these people are governors and they have supporters.
I mean, they have voiced the same thing. Governor Sheyi Makinde specifically said, you must go.
He said it when we were in Ibadan. But that is his own opinion. All the Southwest chairmen, they have refuted it, that they never had meeting with him to say that you must go. Are you going this time around will cause crisis? And the crisis will be so consuming that PDP may not get out of it.
So it looks like either ways PDP has a lot of crisis in its hands.
We don't have,
whether Ayu goes or he doesn't go,
Ayu will not go, and we are going to win election.
Okay, how prepared are you for these elections?
No, very well prepared.
Because the campaigns will soon begin.
You see that everywhere, especially in the Northwest, people are the campaign daily by day for PDP. Everywhere
is that a prediction?
Prediction?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a prophet. I can predict that we are winning. And
no,
we are
that
winning.
people are going to be decamping.
People are decamping already. Go to Casino, you see a lot of people decamping. The Senate majority leader is in the PDP now. The House of Rep man from Daura is in PDP now. A lot of people are decamping. If you go to Kano, you see the Shekara. He's now in the PDP, former governor and the former minister. He's now in the PDP. So PDP is growing day by day. And by the special grace of God, we are going to make it.
How do you think, how do you view the situation in Zamfara, where only recently the court ruled that the candidate of the PDP, and nullifying the primaries that brought in the candidate of
the law will take its course. Court has ruled, there is still room for appeal. Let's wait until the appeal is finalized.
It's because a lot of people are worried about the timing though.
Well, there is nothing wrong in a party not having candidates, depending on the court.
That means that the PDP is ready to lose out.
It depends on the court and depends on the timeline.
Does that bother you?
It bothers me, yes. As a party, it bothers me.
There are some persons that have said that because of the crisis in the PDP Central, they are not able to tackle crisis in states. Doesn't that bother you?
There are crises in some states.
Yes, yes. I mean, I just mentioned Zamfara. It was members of the PDP in Zamfara that went to court, and we have that in some other states. We have that in Taraba.
And the Taraba Kefas is our candidate now, so he's still our candidate. The court has ruled yesterday that he's our bona fide candidate.
Yes, but there's going to be an appeal, isn't it?
That one, I pray there won't be any appeal.
Okay, but you pray there will be appealing?
No, I pray yes. Yes, I do.
All right, thank you so much for joining us on Daybreak. Dr. Olajide Adeniji is the chieftain of the People's Democratic Party and former chairman.
God bless you. Thank you.
We'll take a short breather, and then when we return, Daybreak continues. Please stay with us.
Thank you.
welcome back. With that, we have come to the end of the show this morning. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms if you have missed, and join us again same time, same station tomorrow. My name is Stella Iyaji.
Indeed, if you are just joining, you have really missed, because quite an interesting discussion here that we have heard. You do well to go on our YouTube. You can watch us live 247. We're always streaming, and also catch us across all our social media. Yes. My name is Ayuba Ilya. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.